Hey, good morning. It's Kirk Smith with Easy Breezy Home Buyers. If you have a home you'd like to sell, you can always give us a call at 757-720-SELL. That's 757-720-7355, or visit our website at www.easybreezyhomebuyers.com. Fill out the form there. We'll get with you within 24 hours, make you a fast, fair, on-the-spot cash offer for your home. We buy in any condition, as is, no repairs needed, so give us a call. I want to talk today about Studor vents. We're finishing up a home and get ready to put a Studor vent in under a sink. I know some people have questions about that, so I want to talk for just a moment and kind of show you what we're doing. So what exactly is a plumbing vent? So a plumbing vent allows anything with a drain to drain more easily and quickly, and as well it prevents what's called the siphon effect. Let me explain what I mean. If you ever pour gas out of a gas can, there's a little on the most older gas cans anyway, there was a vent hole in the top of the can with a little cover that pops over it. If you don't take that cover off and open up that hole, the gas comes out slower and it kind of clunk, 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 clunk as it comes out. That's because the air has to go into the can in order to allow the water or the gas to come out. You open the vent, it flows very, very freely. Same thing with the drain. There has to be a vent that lets air in behind the water or the liquid so that it doesn't create a vacuum and cause the drain to drain slowly. There's also something called the siphon effect. If you've ever siphoned gas out of your gas tank, once you get it flowing, the vacuum or the pull of the liquid will continue to suck the rest of the liquid even uphill and then back down and out of your gas can. Same thing with a trap, a P-trap. So let me just take a moment here and show you. Okay, everyone's seen these. This is a P-trap, goes under a drain. This trap that's in my hand fills with water. That trap prevents sewer gas from coming back up into your house because this end goes directly into the sewer line, and you don't want that sewer gas coming back through. So the water sitting in this trap blocks the pipe, keeps the smell out. However, if you don't have a vent, something that allows the air to come in behind here, it can actually create a siphon effect because it can suck the water right out of this trap. So you want a vent somewhere along here that allows air to come in behind and keeps that water from getting sucked out of the trap. So for that reason, every sink, every tub, every shower should be vented, or at least have a vent fairly close by to break that vacuum and allow that water to flow freely. So how do you do that? Well, it can be challenging in a remodel project, especially because you can't always get to or easily get up the walls in order to vent your fixtures. So that's where a Studor vent comes in. So here's what a Studor vent looks like. This is a Studor vent. Okay, it comes just like this in the package. This is the actual vent itself. And this is just an adapter, which allows you to connect it to either a 1.5, or a 2-inch pipe. But that's the vent. So essentially what happens is, if you blow into the hole of this vent, no air will go through it. But if you suck air through this vent, it will flow easily. So what it does, it allows air to come in and down the pipe to create a vent, but any pressure or any odor that would come back up is not able to escape. So it's a pretty clever little device. It really makes life simple. Let me show you a couple of places that we've used them. A very common place to use a Studor vent is in the utility room. So there's the washer and dryer right there. And there's a drain that goes down right here into the wall and goes through a P-trap, which I showed you earlier. And then it goes into a main line that runs down. That line also runs up to that Studor vent. So behind that vent, and this is a box that you can purchase that hooks right onto the vent line. Behind that box is a Studor vent. It just screws right in, just like the vent I showed you. Then that nice little vent goes over it just to make it look nice. So you see a lot of these used in laundry rooms. And again, this allows air to come in through that line and then behind the water that's draining after the P-trap and then out of the house. And there's no way it can siphon water out of that P-trap because the vacuum is broken by the vent. Hopefully that makes sense. And believe it or not, there's actually 5 Studor vents in this house. This sink, for example, needs to be vented. And so behind this sink is a vent pipe that goes up the wall, but there was no way to get it through easily through and all the way up to the roof to vent it through the roof. So what we did was went to the other side of the wall. And there on the other side of the wall is the Studor vent. Now that's that box I just showed you in the utility room, but it doesn't have a cover on it, and we haven't screwed the vent in yet, but we'll just screw the vent onto that, cover it with a cover plate which comes with the box, and that will vent that sink. So as I mentioned, we have 5 Studor vents in this house. We have one behind the sink you just saw. We have one underneath the sink upstairs. We have a double vanity upstairs, and we put a Studor vent there, and then put the actual vent under one of the sinks, so the cover's there. We also have a Studor vent in a closet upstairs that vents the shower for the upstairs bathroom. And we also have a vent, see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, the 5th one will be underneath this sink that I'm getting ready to install, so let me show you that. All right, so this is the kitchen sink. Now, in this kitchen sink, we were not able to run the drain line up the outside wall. It was just impossible to get to it. The way this house is framed, it was just too much wood to try to get through. So instead, they brought the drain line up through the floor along with the supply lines. So that's a 2-inch line right there. And we have to connect this disposal to that 2-inch line. So it's going to look something like this. It'll come right out of the disposal here, and then it will go back into that line with a you could use an elbow, but if you use an elbow, it's not going to be vented. So in other words, the water is going to go through this P-trap right into that drain line, and the suction of that water falling down that drain line can create, and of course it's going to pull air in behind it through the disposal, so you should get good drainage. The problem is you could suck this P-trap dry. So this really needs to be vented, but since we weren't able to get that drain line up through the wall, how are we going to vent it? Well, we're going to use a Studor vent. So what we'll essentially do is put a T in that 2-inch line that we will tie this 1.5 inch into, and then out of the top of that T we'll put a short piece of pipe and a Studor vent right up there, and that will allow us to properly vent this sink, making for the 5th Studor vent in this house. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick, and then I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so I just cut that pipe a little shorter. The reason I did that is I checked to see exactly what height our 1.5 inch line coming out of the disposal is going to be. So this has to go on there, this T, and that's what it's going to go into. So we'll come off the disposal, we'll go through the trap and then straight back into there, and then we'll come out of the top of that T with another piece of 2-inch, and the Studor vent will go right up here. So I'm going to make those connections, and then I'll be back to show you what that looks like. All right, here's a little mock-up of what that's going to look like. So you can see how that's going to go right back into there. Now we'll put there's going to be an adapter. It's glued right in the front of that there with a compression nut that will fit around that 1.5 inch pipe. And then you'll see there's a line right there I marked, which lets me know exactly what angle to put that T on so that goes in straight. So when I glue it on there, I'll get it in the right position. All right, so here we go. I've got this all glued up. So here is the compression nut that I told you about. So on this end here, we glued this compression nut, and the P-trap coming from the disposal will go right into that nut, and that tightens down to make that seal. And then I went ahead and glued on top a little piece of that 2-inch that we cut off, the adapter from the Studor vent, and then the Studor vent just screws right on there. The adapter comes with the Studor vent, so everything you need is with it. And now we have a completed vent assembly, and that will just glue right on top of that 2-inch pipe. The line that I drew there will match up so that I know exactly how to orientate it. Then I can make the connection from the disposal, and it should be done. One thing to note, this is a sanitary T. You'll notice that the T curves downward. Make sure you pay attention and put the vent on this side because the water flows down this way. Don't get this T upside down or you're going to have a little hill here for the water to go over. Then you're going to be cutting it all out and redoing it. Ask me how I know. Very easy mistake to make to get this T upside down, so always make sure you check that. So I'm going to glue that on, show you what it looks like. All right, and there's the finished product. So we've got the P-trap installed on the output of the disposal, which goes up to the sanitary T so the water can drain down, and then the Studor vent allows it to properly vent and drain. So that's it. That's how Studor vent works. That's how you can properly vent a sink that doesn't have the ability to be vented into the roof. And Studor vents are great. They're about 30 bucks. You can buy them at any Lowe's or Home Depot, and you can use them in a variety of situations. I've even had situations where we'll use it for the main vent, say for a bathroom in the attic, instead of going through the roof, cutting a hole in the roof and having to repair all of that. We'll just use a Studor vent in the attic itself and pull fresh air from the attic. So there you go. One thing I should have noted from the beginning, this is a single sink. That's why there's only one disposal and one drain. This particular sink is just a single bowl sink. If you had a double bowl sink, it wouldn't be any different. You would just tie the two bowls together, and then your main drain would still work the same way. So again, if you have a home you'd like to sell, Easy Breezy Home Buyers does pay cash for homes. We also pay referral fees. If you know somebody who has a home to sell, call us at 757-720-7355. That's 720-SELL. Or visit www.easy, that's the letter EZ, breezyhomebuyers.com. That link will be in the description below. And we look forward to talking to you soon.